My phone buzzed again. Meet you at Sterling in 20. You ready for this? Don't forget, I owe you one. S. For 5 years, I'd sent back some variation of, ready when you are, or let's get it done. Tonight, though, would be different, and I couldn't go into it without telling him so. Forewarning you, I'm collecting this year. The typing dots appeared immediately, disappeared, appeared again. Wait, seriously? I mean, good. It's about time. So what's the favor? Tell you after. You got it. Whatever you need, Saffron. You know that. Whatever I needed. But would he feel that way when he learned what I was really asking? When he discovered I needed his family's grapes, their winery, their expertise, and approximately 6 weeks of intensive collaboration to make a wine that might not even work? I grabbed my keys and headed for my truck, the journal safe in my purse. The drive to Sterling Creek Winery took 10 minutes through hills covered in autumn colors. Every winery I passed was closed early. The ball was the area's biggest charity event of the year, and everyone would be there. Sterling Creek had been magically transformed, with thousands of tiny lights creating a canopy of stars over the entrance, and paper lanterns in burgundy and gold lined the pathways. The barrel room, which could hold 500 people, was already 3/4 full when I arrived. Saffron! My mother stood near the bar, wearing a navy dress and her mother's pearls, looking every inch the winery matriarch she'd become. Beside her, Dad wore his best suit, the charcoal one he'd had for a decade but kept in perfect condition. No one looking at them would guess we were 90 days from disaster. You look beautiful, sweetheart, Mom said, kissing my cheek. Same dress as always, I said, mentioning it before she could. Classic never goes out of style. Dad's hand rested on my shoulder, warm and steady. The auction should be entertaining tonight. I heard half of this year's bachelors are fresh out of the vineyard. I laughed. With 4 of Alex's brothers married, along with an equal number of their best friends, I'm sure she struggled to get volunteers.
2. Snapper. I was making my way back from the silent auction room when I nearly collided with Felicity Hope, who was waddling towards the ladies' room with one hand pressed to her lower back. Whoa, sorry. I steadied her with a hand on her elbow. Snapper, she smiled, though it looked strained. Isabel just cornered me. She appears determined to win the date with you this year. If she doesn't, I fear she might murder my sister. I shook my head. You'd think she would have given up by now. Felicity laughed, then winced. God, this baby needs to come out already. I'm so done being pregnant. How much longer? Due date is around the end of the month, but the doctor said first babies usually come late. She made a face. Which means I could be like this for another 2 weeks, or longer. Mom and Dad are coming up at some point to help us get ready. What about Saffron? Felicity's expression shifted. She says she needs to stay and handle the late harvest. You know how she is. Married to that winery. She paused. But I made her promise, the second I go into real labor, she gets on a plane. Mom and Dad did too. I need my sister there, Snapper. Her desperation stunned me, and I promised she'd be there, even though I had no idea if that was Saffron's intention. Good. She squeezed my arm, then winced again. Wagner appeared then, looking worried. You okay, honey? Fine, just needed to pee. Again. She rolled her eyes. 3rd time in an hour. He wrapped an arm around her and guided her toward the restroom, but she looked back at me. Whatever's going on with her, help her, okay? She won't ask, but she needs it. I will, I told her, wondering if whatever she was alluding to had anything to do with Saffron saying she was calling in a favor this year. Back at our table, Kick was waiting with that knowing look he always got when he was about to give me shit. You know, all you'd have to do is insist she let you take her on that date, given the trouble she goes to every year. He leaned in and said. I shook my head. She'd never agree to it. Kik, who was also my best friend and team roping partner, shook his head too and muttered under his breath, You're such an idiot. While that might be true in most cases, it wasn't when it came to Saffron. If I thought she was the slightest bit interested in being more than friends, I'd jump on the chance to date her. But she wasn't. And rather than risk our friendship by awkwardly asking her out and forcing her to turn me down gently, I refrained. Switch seats with me, I said to Kik, pushing away from the table. Not a chance. If you don't want to take your shot with the lovely Miss Hope, well, I sure as hell will, considering I have the best view of her from where I'm sitting. Maybe she and I will make googly eyes at each other throughout dinner. I stared at him. Googly eyes? What the fuck is that? Never mind. I don't want to know. Now, unless you have a death wish, quit even looking at her and switch seats. As soon as my other 4 brothers laughed just as hard as Kik was, I knew he'd set this up before I got to the table. Him adding, You're such an easy mark, only confirmed my suspicion. She'd say yes in a New York minute, if you ever got up the nerve to ask. My brother Bit's wife, Emberly, who was seated on the opposite side of me, said quietly enough that only I could hear her. I was about to respond when my sister got up on stage for the second time and asked for everyone's attention. Dinner is about to be served, so please take your seats. I hope everyone arrived tonight ready to spend lots of money. Between the fabulous silent auction items I already mentioned and our 20 amazing bachelors ready to charm you into generosity, I'm projecting we'll double the amount we raised last year. Who's with me? Several hands went up, along with a rousing round of applause. That was my sister. The woman could talk anyone out of their last dime. I look over at Saffron's table, hoping to catch her eye,